So you were talking about the default options and how they nudge people.
Somebody, the choice architect, has to decide what the default options are. Let me give you a simple example that has proven to be very powerful. In the United States, we have a system of pension plans that are called defined contribution pension plans, sometimes called 401ks. And the employee has to decide how much to save and how to invest. Now, the way a normal 401k plan works is when you first become eligible for this plan, you get a bunch of forms to fill out, and if you fill out the forms, you're in the plan. Some clever firms have adopted what's called automatic enrollment. All that does is change the default. You get those same pile of forms, and you're told, if you don't fill out these forms, then we're going to enroll you in the plan at this saving rate and in this investment. Now, again, the choice architect has to pick something. Where is it said, where is it in the Bible that 0 is the correct saving rate? Nowhere. So since you have to pick something as the default, we say, why not pick a good one? A second bit of choice architecture is expect error. Humans make mistakes. I'll tell you a story. The first time I visited Paris, and I went into the subway, le metro. The way the subway works there, you get a little ticket. It's about the size of a movie ticket. You put it in the front of the machine, it pops out the top. So the ticket has a magnetic stripe on one side and some writing on the other side. I wasn't sure which way to put it in. I decided I'd try the magnetic stripe up. That worked for the next 20 years. I always was very careful. Put it in the magnetic stripe up. Then my wife and I were living in Paris for a few months. And I was showing someone around how to use the subway. I said, now it's very important when you use the subway, put the ticket in with the magnetic stripe up. My wife starts laughing at me. So I said, what are you laughing about? She says, it actually makes no difference. Any way you put the ticket in, it works. So the reason I had never made a mistake in 20 years of using the metro is there is no way to make a mistake. This is good choice architecture. Now, let's compare that to the parking garages in Chicago. You put your credit card in a machine when you come into the parking garage, and then when you're leaving, you put the credit card in again, and it charges the credit card. Now, there are 4 ways to put the credit card into that machine with the magnetic stripe up or down, left or right. Exactly one way works. People are always getting this wrong. And you put it in, and then the gate doesn't go up, and now you're trying to remember, okay, what was the problem here? And if you go to the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, some people think is the greatest orchestra in the world, you go there after a concert, they actually are paying people to stand by the exits to put the cards in the right way so that there isn't a big line. Now, the whole point of having this machine was to save labor. And they've defeated it with bad choice architecture. So expect error. A third principle is give people feedback. One of the reasons these machines don't work is when you put your card in and it comes out, the only feedback you get is that the gate doesn't go up. It doesn't tell you whether you put the wrong card in or whether your card has been demagnetized or whether you're over your limit. You don't know what mistake you made. Mm-hmm. Now, think about a digital camera. One of the many ways in which a digital camera is better than the old kind of camera is you take a picture, you immediately see the image. All of us who are old enough to remember film cameras remember the experience of having a wonderful day of taking photographs only to discover that we hadn't put any film in the camera. So this was bad feedback. We can have good feedback. So there are a whole series of these principles. Providing people good incentives is another one. And you can combine incentives and feedback. Here's another nice example. There's a public utility in California that designed a machine that's called the ambient orb. All it is a light bulb. You put that light bulb in people's homes. When they're using a lot of electricity, it starts glowing. The more they use, the brighter it glows. This is just giving feedback. It turns out putting that in people's homes reduced energy usage by 40% in peak periods. Just feedback, without changing the incentives. Now, if on top of that you give people an incentive to cut back in peak periods, it will work even better. So the choice architect has all these tools that the choice architect can use to get people to achieve certain goals. And going back to my example of the building, one of the things we told the architect is we want the faculty to talk to one another. So those stairs helped in that goal. And so in real architecture and in choice architecture, if we have goals to reduce energy use or to increase savings or make people healthier, choice architecture can help.